I gave everybody a word. My one friend, I gave him girls. One, I gave elephants. One, I gave rabbits. I mean, I would give them each a different word. And I told them, if I say that word 3 times, they'll be hypnotized. And they would just fall down. And I always had to make sure that they didn't fall and hit their head, which a couple did because I didn't watch what they were doing. I mean, I was only learning. Nobody was there helping me, showing me, or telling me not or what to do. So when I hypnotized a friend, I could go into the details. I don't want to sound too twisted, but I had maybe 5 guys with me and said, who wants to get hypnotized? And one would say, I do. And then I'll say, girls, 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 and they would just pass out. And then I would give them a suggestion, and then they would do it. Now, I started doing it with my family. I had my cousins there, and they brought the one girl had a teacher there. And I said, I'm going to try hypnotizing everybody and who goes under I'll work with. So there was about 20 people there. I hypnotized about 8 of them. So they're the 8 I worked with. I worked with 5 of them and then took them out. I left 3 of them in a trance, in a hypnosis state. Now, this is, again, I have no teacher. I wasn't taught the way you're supposed to be programmed to do this, that, and the other thing, what you're supposed to ask, say, and do. So I'm down to the teacher, my cousin's teacher. And I said, what should I do with her? Oh, tell her to sing. She sings really good, but she's afraid to. And I'll tell you, this is how much I remember. Okay, I said, all right, you're going to sing a song. And I go, what? Who she likes? She goes, well, she likes the Beatles. I know she can sing Michelle. So I said, all right, you're going to sing Michelle by the Beatles. She sang the song, really beautiful. French lines, the whole thing. But I said, I want to wake her up now because you said she doesn't want to do that. When I woke her up, the first thing she did, she ran in the bathroom. And she was crying. She goes, I don't do that in public. I don't want to do things like that in public. So, I had to prove to myself that it was real every time as well. Because most of the time, Kreskin, when he has 13 to 50 people on a stage and then half of them leave, but half of them stay there, remember, if you're on a stage and you're going to get hypnotized, you're already willing to do something stupid. See, you can't hypnotize stupid people. And I studied with the hypnotist later on when I was 16, an army hypnotist. But when you work with stupid, I'm sorry to use the word stupid, unable to retain a thought, and you give them the idea you're tired, you're relaxed, they can't think of that because they're already thinking about going out and watching a football game, baseball game. Oh, I got to, and you tell them another thought, and they're thinking about something else. How I learned hypnosis from this army hypnotist, I was teaching them stage magic. Because he said when he works with children, it's so hard to keep their attention. So he would do little magic tricks in front of them, and he was able to hypnotize them because they were focused on something. And focus is the number one thing you have to do when you get hypnotized or hypnotize somebody. So I hypnotized her, and she started singing. So the other one, I said, okay, you're petting a rabbit. And they're sitting there petting this invisible rabbit. I said, well, I'm bringing you back. But the rabbit's going to stay there for about 3 minutes. And slowly it's going to disappear in your hands. And when it disappears, you're going to remember everything that happened. And it was, I watched it. When I got them all back, they were all sitting at that one person petting the rabbit. And they're looking at us like nothing's happening. And then finally the rabbit starts disappearing. And his head's shaking. He's looking down. And then he started going, you got to be kidding. I don't believe it. And it was like he freaked out. I mean, he accepted it, but it was like he didn't believe that it could have been really happening, that it happened and all that. So I took it further. I took it a lot further than that. And I'll tell you in a little bit. But I told my brother. He goes, come on, that's not real. I said, how about I give you a situation which is as real as I can make it. So I told my two friends, one was a German and the other one was a American, and they were both in war. And they both knew that they had to kill the other person. And I got that elaborate. And I said, on top of that, I'm going to put vodka in front of each one of you so you can drink it. I only gave them water. So they're both sitting there, drinking this little cup of water. And then I had to keep an eye on it because I knew I created something very bad, for a word. One of them, I saw him reach over, and I looked, and I saw him grab something. He actually grabbed the knife that was on the table. And the other one's looking around, and all of a sudden, the other one came flying around with his hand up in the air with the knife coming straight down on him. I grabbed his hand and told him his word, and I brought him back. And my brother goes to me, "Oh, that's all, you set that all up for me," and then he left. So his mother came down and said, "You got to go to bed now," and all that. So I left. I didn't realize I left them both drinking water. So 3 hours later, 3 o'clock in the morning, my one friend screaming outside, "Hey, Tommy, come on out here." And then his mother came running out screaming, "If you ever get my son drunk again, I'll have you arrested," and blah, blah, blah. He went inside. I took everything to the max, and I played it out. I learned the good and the bad real fast. But I went into, and I created the idea, and I don't care who believes me or not, I'll tell you the truth. I said, I want to do something different that nobody has ever done. I was on a spiritual quest already at 16. I said, what can I do? By the time I was 20, I already did a lot of hypnosis and was hypnotizing groups and things like that. I said, I want to go further than that. That's not important to me anymore. I said, how about I bring them in their bodies into a past life or something? And I said, how do I word that? It took me months to come up with the idea of past life regression. I created that term. I know Dolores Cannon said she did, and I don't know what year it was, 70-something, whatever. It was like 7 years after I've been doing it for a couple years already. But I didn't do it super famous. I wish I could have. I wasn't at the level because I had a regular job as well. I didn't have the time to split it. Wasn't making enough money to do it, and people didn't understand it. People didn't want to go past life regression. What am I going to see? That's not real. But I learned a lot. I did all my family and friends first and things like that. I never charged money. I never charged money for whatever I did. When I started going into healing work, I never charged money. I said, if you want to give me a donation, that's fine, but I don't charge money. You can't charge for the truth, and people do. And I feel bad about that because they're going to face their God sooner or later. And you can't say I charged for the truth. The truth is free. God is free. Ego is not, and power and money is what people want. So it's a sad combination. So when I made these business cards, I remember the printer said, what's a past life? I said, the lives you used to have. What lives? And you had to explain the word to everybody. So the cards, when I put them out there, nobody knew what they meant. Nobody had a clue. I got involved with a religion, which helped me a real lot. I'll say the name. It was Eckankar. But I stepped in between the boundaries on that all the time. I don't want to get into it. It's an incredible story, but not right now. But I was able to start leaving my body and doing all those other things, and I learned much about past life, and I learned all mine in detail. The other thing is I learned, which is important, and most hypnotists should hear it, they'll hear it, and they'll deny it. Hypnosis is something that we truly don't understand. Kreskin, who I worked with when I was a child, said it's the power of suggestion. He said Hitler controlled the country by just words, and they heard the words and they accepted them. Like they used to do preliminary suggestions on TV to all of us, through commercials, through shows and things. And nowadays, if you could prove it, you can sue them, but they did it in the days when there was no technology to really catch it. Only split-second thoughts would pop on the screen and go through your subconscious mind. But getting back to hypnosis, I decided I wasn't going to do this for a career, doing past life regression. I started going into stage hypnosis. I became a magician, stage magician, learned all about magic, while I was learning about real magic and stage magic, two separate entities. One has to do with psychic abilities, one has to do with the illusion you pull over on people. And I learned I learned everything about it quite well. I could tell you much more about any of that than any hypnotist can. Because when you hypnotize a person, and I'm dealing with people thinking they're the greatest hypnotists, they're psychologists as well. If you don't know God, you can't do anything right. You can't say what a person's thinking is right or wrong. You can't do any of that. You go in a nut house, those people have a different viewpoint. Crazy is one thing, and very few people are truly crazy. Programmed and subconsciously reprogrammed are what most people are, meaning their belief system's not programmed to believe what you believe. What makes a law is something that the general rich people accept. It's not what the general poor people accept. So there's a real contradictory there. So when I was doing hypnosis, I said, no, I'm going to go into magic. I started doing stage magic, and then I ended up going into fire dancing. I worked with 2 different magician partners for many years. I had fun doing it. Did many shows in New York City. I did the Cotton Club. I did Gigi Barnum's. Basically, it was Barnum and Bailey. They split up because he was gay and opened up a gay club. I did all kinds of things. I did bachelor parties, which I would never do again. I had problems with that, serious problems. So, yeah, I learned. I learned the hard way, but I do it. I put myself in the middle of it. If I feel I can get away with a story in the next hour, I might tell it. But it was the most dangerous thing that anybody on this planet could go through, that I went through. You can say yes, no, maybe I believe it, I don't. That's your choice. But I went through it. I thought suicide would get me out of it, which it didn't. But it was a serious, serious scenario of life and death, and what went on in between all that. Realize I work with deities. I had a master that would work with me as well, traveling the worlds with me. He couldn't travel where I went most of the time. I didn't know why at the time. I do now. I mean, you don't learn things just by seeing it. Even if you see something once, you have no clue what it is. A death experience, most souls, and I ask them and I listen to them, and they say that I saw the light, I saw my aunt, I saw my uncle, I saw Jesus, I saw God, and I was told to come back. That's not what happens. Not at all. That's what the mind tells soul to tell its reality of what it is and what happened. And they make books, stories, and everything else out of that. And suddenly they're spiritual. People getting abducted are suddenly spiritual as well now. I tell you, the spiritual word is non-existent on planet Earth. You go past the astral plane into the 3rd realm, you'll understand the word spiritual at that point, not before. The violence, the hate, the pain, the suffering exists in hell. It doesn't exist in the pure world. God doesn't create junk. You heard that phrase? Well, it doesn't. Only man does. So as we create disease, toxic, poisons, and everything else for this planet, are we learning any more about God? Well, we have experiences every day. Well, you should have learned them maybe 100 lifetimes ago. You don't go around killing people. You don't go around hurting people. You don't go around abusing people, ever. But guess what? You reincarnate over and over because mankind loves it. Always did. After Atlantis went down, the human race accepted the idea of pain, suffering, as long as it wasn't them going through the pain. Why do you think the arenas were filled with people watching people kill each other? Because today, people will pay lots of money to see somebody beat somebody up. Why is that? Why is it legal? Money makes things legal. How's that? Do people object? Marijuana doesn't kill people. Drinking does. Do people object? No. Why not? People have lost their consciousness. Oh, I'm one with everything. You're one with nothing, and that's why you are nothing. Oh, I'm everything. Ego is a great, great master to nothing. It doesn't have. Ego thinks it's master, so it's a master of itself, meaning it doesn't know anything. When we travel, when we do anything, whatever we plan, our situation in life, ego's there. Well, I got to make more money than them. I got to do this. I got to do that. Do you like what you do? If not, why not? I mean, It took me my whole life to get where I'm at now, and that's what usually happens. And then when you attain everything you need to know, you